You ever have one of those days where the world just flips on you for no reason, like you walk into a store planning to buy some lettuce and a few apples, and you end up with blood running down your face and a cop's grip digging into your wrist, right out there in front of God and everybody? That's how it started for me, Maya Thompson, on a Saturday I'll never forget. And trust me, I've survived enough 24-hour trauma shifts and military moves to know the world isn't always fair, but that day, it felt like the whole damn system set out to prove it. Let me back up a sec, because if you just saw the videos online, the military convoy, the cops, the crowd with their phones up, you'd think this was just a viral scene, not the unraveling of an entire life's work to prove I belonged, to anybody who ever doubted a black woman could wear a white coat and call the shots in an operating room. But it started simple. Howard sweatshirt, grocery run, the spring air suite with honeysuckle. My mind halfway on the patient list waiting for me at Nashville Memorial, and the subtle glances I'd learned to live with in Oak Ridge Hills, just another Saturday in a neighborhood where people like me still get a second look, no matter the zip code on the mailbox. I've been followed by security guards before, sure, part of the invisible tax you pay for black excellence, but today, the weight in the air was heavier, almost electric. I could feel the manager's eyes crawling across my back as I checked tomatoes. Brad, his name tag said, the kind of man who polices avocados like they're diamonds, and I'd already noticed the woman with the purse eyeing me from across the aisle. Lips pursed, whole body language screaming, "You don't belong here." You know what I mean? That sort of tension that sets your teeth on edge and makes you rehearse what you'll say, just in case. Didn't take long before she went over to Brad, whispering with that rehearsed drama, pointing straight at Meher, voice low, but every word sharp enough to slice the silence. My purse. My medication. That woman right there. I could almost see the script play out in her mind. Me, the thief, her the wrong party. Happens more often than you'd think. Brad stomped over, face already set in judgment, asking me to come with him. No explanation, just pure suspicion. When I asked if there was a problem, he didn't answer, just waited for her to deliver her lines. She took my prescription. I want her arrested. You could have heard a grape drop in the aisle. I kept my cool. 12 years of brain surgery trains you for high-stakes moments, but not for this kind of high stakes. I haven't touched your purse. I'm a doctor, for God's sake. Why would I need to steal anything? It didn't matter. Brad said the police were on their way, told me not to touch my phone. Suddenly, I wasn't Dr. Thompson anymore. I was just another suspect. The cops came in fast. Simmons and Hanson, names I'd learned too well. They listened to the story, Karen's wild claims growing wilder, and when I tried to show my ID, all I got was, "Just the ID, ma'am. No need for a speech." When Simmons sneered at my address, "Nobody matching your description lives in Oak Ridge Hills that I know of," something inside me snapped, but I kept my voice steady, explained I'd moved in last month, married to Colonel Marcus Thompson, stationed at Fort Campbell. I might as well have said I was the Queen of England. They put me in handcuffs anyway. You ever feel the metal dig into your skin, cutting off circulation, while people you pass stare at you like you've sprouted horns? No one intervened, just the quiet hum of phones recording, like they wanted the world to know, but didn't want to risk their place in line. Simmons leaned in and told me, "After we find whatever you took, your husband will have bigger problems." My mask cracked just for a second. Years of proving myself, of excelling past every expectation, and it didn't mean a damn thing right now. But here's where life flipped the script literally. Out in that parking lot, as the police debated how hard to press, I spotted the outline of military vehicles, sun glinting off chrome. That's when I felt the first tiny spark of hope, even as my wrists burned. The convoy rolled in like something out of movie. Colonel Marcus Thompson in full dress, medals flashing, flanked by Captain Rodriguez and Lieutenant Williams, each step a reminder of authority you can't ignore. The cops stiffened. Even Brad started looking for somewhere to hide. Marcus didn't yell. He just introduced himself, voice calm as a sunrise, and asked why his wife, Dr. Maya Thompson, chief of neurosurgery, was being detained. Simmons tried to hold the line, saying it was a police matter, but Marcus, he just stood his ground, asked for evidence, quoted Tennessee arrest statutes, and mentioned the police chief's daughter I'd operated on last year. It was like watching a chess grandmaster play checkers with toddlers. Twist of fate. Just as things reached their breaking point, Karen the accuser tried to slip away. Marcus called her out, held her with a look that said, "Not today." Meanwhile, the military crew kept recording, news crews started rolling up, and more bystanders found the courage to edge closer. Phones up, ready to beam the story to every corner of the country. When the chief of police finally arrived, Donovan, old school, silver-haired, he tried to take it private, but Marcus made sure every word stayed out in the open. The security footage was clear as day. Me, minding my own business, nowhere near Karen's cart. The medication she claimed I'd stolen, sitting right in her purse, right where she'd left it. When the chief saw the evidence, he tried to smooth things over, but Marcus wasn't having it. "This will be handled publicly, just as my wife was humiliated publicly. It's funny people think justice means making things right, but sometimes it just means refusing to let things be hidden." Then, out of nowhere, the twist nobody saw coming, a crowd favorite, Mr. Jenkins, elderly deacon from First Baptist, collapsed right there on the hot asphalt. Instinct overrode everything. I broke from the cops, dropped to his side, started CPR, barking orders, hands steady as ever. Simmons tried to stop me, hand on his weapon, until Marcus stepped in, his voice icy. "Stand down, officer, unless you want to explain why you prevented emergency medical care." That's when the real authority in the room became clear. We stabilized Jenkins, helped by the very officers who'd humiliated me, now forced to witness me saving a life while their authority crumbled in public view. Paramedics rolled in, took Jenkins to the hospital, and as fate would have it, I was needed at Nashville Memorial for emergency brain surgery this time, with the same officers who'd cuffed me serving as my police escort. Lights flashing, crowd parting, everyone aware the rules had changed, if only for a moment. You might think the story ends here, with justice served and everyone going home, but that's not how the world works, not for people like me. Not in neighborhoods like this. Within hours, the story went viral, Justice for Dar Thompson blowing up online, my bruised wrists, and Marcus's military comm seen by millions. By nightfall, the apologies from the grocery store and the police department had started rolling in, but so had the threats, graffiti on our garage, anonymous calls, my hospital schedule rearranged, complaints stacking up, and the HOA nitpicking everything from our trash bins to the color of our front door. Yeah, that happened. Meanwhile, my husband, who, by the way, had more military intelligence in his pinky than those officers had in their entire precinct, started digging. With help from our military friends and a whistleblower cop who'd had enough, we uncovered a network of racist group chats, body cam tampering, HOA board connections, and a whole culture of community cleaning, all the ugly stuff people like to pretend doesn't happen in nice neighborhoods. Even the police union got involved, sending veiled threats from the president himself, who just happened to be the father of one of the officers who arrested me. You can't make this stuff up. But here's the kicker: while we build our legal case, the very officers who'd handcuffed me ended up needing my help again, this time when Officer Hansen's kid suffered a serious head injury. I saved that child's life. Hansen couldn't look me in the eye, but he managed to thank you, and honestly, that moment said more about the world than any courtroom speech ever could. The pressure ramped up, fate mail, intimidation, colleagues covering me at the hospital because someone heard that police response to our address might be slow if things got out of hand. But we kept pushing: public hearings, DOJ investigation, testimonies from community leaders like Walter Jenkins, and even the unexpected twist of Karen Whitfield herself admitting under oath that she never actually saw me steal anything, just felt uncomfortable when I walked down the aisle in a sweatshirt. That's all it took for my life to unravel a feeling. Months passed. Cops were fired, the police union shook up, the HOA reformed, the hospital overhauled their bias training, and our neighborhood, for the first time, started talking openly about who belonged and who didn't. Karen ended up serving community service at the same church Jenkins attended, learning maybe that fear isn't an excuse. And us? We stayed. We hosted a block party, invited everyone, even the ones who'd looked the other way. Some came, some didn't, but we weren't leaving. 1 year later, I went back to Greenleaf Markethead High, scars faded but memories sharp. An old woman stopped me, asked if I was the doctor who'd saved her grandson. "Thank you," she said, And for the first time, I felt seen for what I am, not what I look like. We framed the news article in our living room, the headline reading, "Wrongful detention leads to systemic police reform." It's not everything, but it's a start. Now, let me ask you, what would you have done if you'd seen me in those handcuffs, bleeding in the sunlight? Would you have stepped in or stayed silent? Ever found yourself wishing you'd spoken up when it mattered, or felt the weight of staying quiet just to keep the peace? Drop a comment below, tell me what justice means to you, what community you want to live in, and if you believe it's possible to change things when the odds are stacked against you. If this story hit home, share it maybe with someone who needs a reminder that one voice, one refusal to accept the world as it is, can start something bigger than you ever imagined. Like, subscribe, pass it on, because in the end, it's not just about one family, one doctor, or even one town. It's about building a world where dignity isn't conditional, where standing up isn't optional, and where hope is more than just a headline. So, yeah, that's what happened to me. What would you do if it happened to you?